This is the burning issue on the happy world of 5FM radio, bringing you hot, smoldering topics on a weekly basis. Participation is important.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to yet another edition. It's a Thursday edition of the Burning Issue here radio on 89.9 in Lusaka and the surrounding areas. We are also live on our Facebook page, and that's 5FM Radio Zambia, and also on our YouTube channel, 5FM Zambia. Don't forget that we also have our partner radio stations that are currently live, and these are Tuta FM in Mansa on 90.7. And thank you very much for carrying this program live on that great platform. We are also live on Muchinga Radio in Chinsali. Muchinga Radio covers the rest of Muchinga province on 88.1. And good morning to you all. And also live on iWave FM radio in Chingola, covering the rest of the Copper Belt. And we are grateful that you found time to tune in. Central Province is well covered as well. And our great Spice FM is carrying this program live on 91.1 in Kawe, covering the rest of Central Province, like I earlier said. And we are grateful to that. Lusaka, like I said, is well covered, 5FM on 89.9 and the surrounding areas. Southern Province is also catered for. We are live on Wave FM radio on 98.7 in Mazabuka, covering the rest of Southern Province. And I'm your host, Zachariah Banda. Now, today, we are going to discuss a lot of important issues around water and sanitation, vis-a-vis amidst the pandemic outbreak, cholera. In the studio with me to help me discuss these and more is Honorable Mponsha, Member of Parliament for Munali constituency. He is also the Minister of Water Development and Sanitation. Always a pleasure to have you on this program. Welcome, and compliments of the season.
Thank you, Zach. Compliments of the season to you and all the members of staff here at 5FM. Thank you for hosting me. I want to believe this is the last burning issue of the year.
Yes.
Thank you for having me, and good morning to our various listeners.
Great. And of course, it being the last burning issue, what is obviously very burning is sanitation. And we also know that sanitation is very key, just as key as water itself is. So we will discuss more around this, and later on in the program, we will also touch on your constituency, just to check on how you are doing as a constituency. But first things first, let's discuss water development. We do understand that we are coming from a time when we experienced erratic supply of water due to the fact that there was maintenance works being done on the Ayolanda network. Just bring us to speed how we have done with that.
All right. Yeah. Once again, Zach, thank you for having me, and thank you for that question. Yes, we had a big leakage on the Ayolanda line, and just for the sake of our viewers to appreciate that Lusaka is being fed from various points of supply. And we have two key sources. One is a groundwater source, where we abstract water through the boreholes. Then we have the surface water source, where we abstract water from Kafue River in Chilanga, and pumping it all the way into Lusaka, a distance of about 56 kilometers. Now, the water being produced and abstracted from Kafue River is being pumped through two lines, two networks. Okay, so we have what we call Ayolanda 1 network, and we have Ayolanda 2. So the Iolanda one is the one you are asking about,
Right.
which has a design capacity of 85,000 cubic meters, okay, of water. So if you like, about 85 million liters per day. This is a line which had developed a big leakage, and this started some years back. So it started as a small leak. It was growing, and at a time that we went back with the view of making a decision in terms of what we must do, we were losing about 10 million 10 million liters per day. So, and this is treated water. So we decided that we must prepare all the components that we needed. And remember, I'd mentioned that this puncture or this leakage was coming from a bend. And because of the nature of the setup at the bend, this big pipe is buried in a concrete. So even when we were seeing the overflow of water, we didn't know at what point exactly what had happened, whether it was at a bend where we needed the coupling. We didn't know. So because we didn't want to expose, because of the pressure with which the water is pumped, we didn't want to start excavating before putting the components in place. So our engineers had to bring in what they thought would be the necessary or the required components. So these are bought from outside the country. We don't have them in the country. So first we had to put those measures, bring the components, and then when we had everything in place, that's the time that we had announced. And because we didn't know exactly the nature of the fault there, we asked for a maximum period that we thought would be required to do all the works, the excavation, identify the problem, fix it, bury it, allow the concrete to cure. So we asked for 60 days. But I'm happy to say that when we exposed the network, after we shut down, we exposed the network, and true to our suspicion, the rupture was at a bend where the coupling gave in. Okay, so our engineers worked day and night and managed to repair. Within 11 days, we had finished with the repair works. Now, we needed, beyond the 11 days, we needed now to allow the concrete that had to be reinstated to contain the pressure to cure, and we needed 21 days for the concrete to cure. So if you like, you just add 11 days and 21 days. That's what gave us the period in which we completely resolved the problem that we had. You know, we rectified the leakage.
And how long has it been leaking?
Oh, it had been leaking for over 5 years. I mean, it formed a big stream, and the people started benefiting from it in terms of watering vegetables, and you know, because it was free water. So it was a huge loss for over 5 years. Now, the benefits of that decision and the works that followed is that we are now receiving more than 102,000 cubic meters per day from that network. So from the loss...
From 88?
Yeah, from 85.
From 85.
The design capacity is 85, but we are producing more. And Lusaka right now, through that network, is receiving more than 102 million liters per day. So it was a good decision. We regret that all people, because of what you've already said, the erratic water supply that most of the people in Lusaka experienced. But here, the benefit, we are receiving more than what we expected in terms of water supply. And this will help us now that we have the cholera outbreak. We need this water more than before. And I hope that it will go a long way to help us avert the further spreading of the cholera disease.
Let's discuss now that you've mentioned it. The cholera is upon us. Stakeholders and opposition political parties have actually castigated the UPND government that you seem not to be exerting political will on this matter, and you are seeing a lot of information on the numbers of people that are dying of cholera. There's been criticism also about how you are not taking it serious as government. Just bring us up to speed with regards what you as government, and especially your department, your ministry in collaboration with the Ministry of Health. I know that these two ministries are key this time around, and especially during the pandemic as this. Just inform us what you are doing about this.
Thank you, Zach, that again you brought in this very important topic. First of all, I want to sympathize with the families that have been one way or another been affected by this epidemic.
Right.
I want to convey my condolences to the families that have lost their beloved ones since this outbreak, but also those that are hospitalized. We send our sympathies and best wishes that our people recover quickly. Now, it is not true that the government is not taking this matter seriously. We are taking on this problem head on. And it's not just the two ministries you've mentioned, my ministry and Ministry of Health. No, we are actually working in a multi-sectoral approach in dealing with many other problems, be it COVID-19 and now cholera. We are working with the Ministry of Health, but also Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, but also other ministries such as Ministry of Technology and Science, because we also need to disseminate that we send the correct messages and on time. So there are many ministries that are working with us, including the Office of the Vice President, which deals with various disaster issues. And we've been having several meetings being chaired at that. We put adequate measures in place to avert the further spreading of this problem. Now, what measures are we putting in place? Working together, we are ensuring that water, and here we are talking about clean and safe water, is made readily available in various communities. Now, we might not have 100% coverage in terms of water supply, but we have put additional measures to ensure that in areas where we don't have the network, the infrastructure with which to supply water, we still make clean water available. Now, the question will be, why are we doing this? We know that cholera is attributed to consuming contaminated water, consuming contaminated foods, practicing bad hygiene, if you like. All these would lead to the spread of cholera. So what happens is that if you and me, Zach, are throwing bottles, throwing trash in undesignated places, if you go into town now, you have people throwing garbage in the drainages. Even in my constituency where we are working on various roads, you find that you are working on a road, obvious, which has to come with the drainages. The people in the night are carrying bags to go and throw in the drainages. Now, what would happen is that once you block the drainages, because you're throwing garbage in these undesignated places that are not for you to dispose of waste, you are going to have water failing to pass and building up, and the mixture of waste and water will bring around some just unhealthy environment which will attract flies, and the build up accumulation of flies will mean that you are now transporting germs from these dirty areas into various. So flies would come and land on a surface like this, on this table, and we are here, you touch this surface. Meanwhile, there were flies that were here, and you go and touch food, you pick some diseases. So what we are doing is to work with local government, but also to sensitize our people. Dump waste in undesignated places, you are actually attracting diseases. That is one. Two, that we must ensure that the food is always warm, hot food. We must wash our hands from time to time. But we must also ensure that the water we are accessing is from reliable sources. So we want to encourage our people that they must ensure that they are using safe and reliable water from reliable sources. Now, the question might be that people are going to draw water from shallow wells, which are not reliable sources of water. The argument would be no, because we don't have water in this area. No, because the water from Lusaka Water, for example, or from any other commercial utility, we just use it. That one, we use it for drinking and for cooking. Whereas for washing, we use water from shallow wells. Now, there lies in a danger. You draw water from shallow wells, which is obviously contaminated because it's not treated. You use it to clean plates. You're actually not cleaning plates. So the dirty that you are able to see with your naked eyes will be cleaned quite all right. But you're actually smearing germs on those plates. Then you bring food, you put on that plate. Definitely you've contaminated the food. Okay, so this is why we always tell people that even when you say that you're using this water for washing clothes and whatnot, actually, as you are doing that, you're actually smearing germs in your hands, and from there you go and breastfeed. Because we've seen also that in this epidemic, the current outbreak, we've seen that the numbers of the affected are actually children, young children, and the possibilities that their parents are coming into contact with water from unreliable sources, and they go and breastfeed their child. So as you are touching the breast, your hands, but you have actually been washing your hands with contaminated water. You go and breastfeed your child, and then you end up transmitting the germs. So these are some of the issues that are leading to this spread of cholera. So what are we doing? What we are doing is that we are sure that water is readily available in certain areas, peri-urban areas where they were depending on our boreholes, the surface water network. So the water coming from the rivers, which we are drawing from Chilanga, part of it now has also been injected into these cholera-prone areas where we have our water supply infrastructure, so that they don't just rely on the boreholes. We have also intensified the prompt repair networks, because we don't want to have a lot of leakages, because with now the onset of the rains, you might have, if you have a lot of leakages and then the stormwater is also passing where there are leakages, there could be some contamination there, and you might find that the stormwater is injecting dirty into the network, and then we'll end up having people accessing our water, but which has gotten contaminated. And we, to avoid that possibility, we are ensuring that we have scaled up the responses in terms of responding to reports of leakages. Then secondly, we have also scaled up the sampling, the routine sampling. As we pump the water, We make sure at different points we get samples to check whether there's a possibility of contamination. And at various points, we also dose the network or the water with chlorine as a method of treating. But now what we've done now is that we've scaled up the treatment. We are calling it a super chlorination, where we dose the network with more chlorine than the usual. So that, as the water is moving, as the water is being transported to the end user, the level of chlorine drops. So by embarking on what we are calling super chlorination, we are dosing the network with more chlorine so that up to the time that water is reaching you, the level of chlorine in the water that you are accessing should still be at the required standard. It should not drop, because once it drops so much, then the water is compromised. In there, any small contamination, it will go through and contaminate you. So to avoid that, we are putting more chlorine to make sure that at the time that you're accessing this water, even if there's a slight contamination, because the level of chlorine is up there at the required standard. In areas where we don't have water supply infrastructure or network, we have started providing tanks of 10,000 liter capacity. So we are targeting to install 235 tanks around the different places of Lusaka, peri-urban areas of Lusaka. So each tank has a capacity of 10,000 liters. And we're going to have 235 different locations being fitted with these tanks. Now, how it will work is that we'll provide more water bowsers to transport the water. So what we don't want is to get a water bowser into a community and people line up and they start accessing the water from the water bowsers. It will delay the pace at which we need to draw the water and transport. So we are providing these tanks so that we push in the water through the water bowsers into these tanks. As we offload, we leave people to be accessing this water. The water bowser drives back to pick more water to come and offload or to take to another location.
Isn't that costly?
It is.
Wasn't there any option, cheaper option, alternative to that?
No, because
lay pipes probably.
It will be more expensive, and the laying of pipes, the project, it's a long term. That will be in the long term, because now you need the procurement, you need to procure contractors, the contractor has to procure the materials.
Yeah.
By the time you'll be doing that, more lives will have been lost. So the cheaper way is to provide the tanks. But obvious, it's expensive.
So this is in response to the pandemic.
Exactly. Right. This is in response to the pandemic. So that we quickly move and ensure that people don't access water from shallow wells. So we need to bury these shallow wells. But we are doing this so that this story of saying, no, because there are no taps here for Lusaka water, we'll put the tanks there. Then there are certain areas in Kanyama.
When is this going to be done?
No, it's happening.
And which selected areas are these, or townships?
The cholera prone areas, the Garden, Kanyama,
right.
and the various compounds, Chawama, we are identifying all different points. Now, your question is, has this started? Yes, it has started. As at yesterday, we had already installed about 4 tanks. So if you like, 40,000 liters capacity combined. So unfortunately, we couldn't move as faster because of the adverse weather conditions. I'm using adverse in the loose terms because as Minister of Water, and just like anybody else, we want the water, we want the rains. But in terms of this work, the pace at which we should have done, but we are continuing. So 4 tanks already in different localities.
And this is treated
so first we are providing the tanks, the storage. Then we are supplying treated water through our water bowsers.
Now that is on the water side.
Yes. Then on sanitation.
On sanitation,
yes.
Because then this is where it's crucial.
Yes. No, both are crucial. You need clean water every day, but
Right.
particularly at this point.
That's right.
Then you are also right, you need sanitation, okay, good hygiene. So in terms of sanitation, our biggest worry, one, is on the constant blockages of sewer lines, okay? So you have in places where you have the sanitation infrastructure, and most of it is experiencing constant blockages for various reasons. One of them is that vandalism, the high levels of vandalism. People are stealing manholes, they are breaking these manholes, and then the sanitation network is exposed. And what leads to this is that what would happen is have access to the sanitation network in terms of dropping waste here, okay? So what happens in these communities is that, one, people go and draw water from shallow wells. I use this example, and because they're avoiding to pay the bills, the water bills, okay? They're avoiding to pay, some of them are being supplied in terms of water kiosks, so they're avoiding to go and pay and get water. Similarly, in terms of solid waste, people are avoiding to pay to subscribe to the solid waste collection system that is established in the various peri-urban communities. And because they don't want to pay for garbage collection, in the night, they carry sacks to go and drop in the drainages, like I said earlier. They carry these sacks of solid waste to go and drop in the sanitation network. So they will remove the manholes and use it. Now, because the network is not meant to carry solid waste,
Right.
to carry sanitation stuff, not solid waste. So if you drop a solid stuff there, the network gets blocked. And then what happens? Sewer floods. So what we are doing is that we are moving in to ensure that all the manholes that are exposed must be covered. That is one. Two, we are also moving in to ensure that we increase the level of the manholes so that now that it's raining heavily, we don't get stormwater accessing the sanitation network, because the more stormwater gets into the sewerage network, what will happen is that the network gets overwhelmed. And when it gets overwhelmed, it will find a breathing space, and the breathing space will be at a manhole. So it will start flooding at a manhole. So you have both stormwater and sewer flooding in the communities. Now, at this point, when we are fighting this cholera epidemic, we don't want that to happen. So we are now covering all the manholes that are exposed to ensure that no solid waste is dumped there. Secondly, to ensure no stormwater goes into there. The other measure that we are doing is to ensure that we are planning to empty the pit latrines. So I was talking about the sanitation network in areas where we have this infrastructure.
Right.
Now, you have in the peri-urban areas where you don't have network, what you have is the pit latrines.
That's right.
So we have sent teams now to identify various pit latrines that are full and needed to be emptied. So we are targeting to empty about 20,000 pit latrines, so that as it's raining, we don't have stormwater going into these pit latrines, flooding, and then begin to cause problems. So that's what we are doing on the sanitation end.
And this also is in response to the
exactly, this is in response to the cholera situation. Now, in the long term, we are also talking to our people.
But how easy, before you move to the long term? I mean, how easy is this emptying of pit latrines, considering the localities, the locations of most of these? I mean, how accessible are they? What are the challenges being faced with that regard?
Yes, those are the challenges that we will be faced with, and we are already facing in our regular routine collection of waste, attending to the waste. Because of the unplanned settlements, most in these peri-urban areas, so you find that it's very difficult to take in a truck there. But we're going to use the vacuum tankers of different sizes to ensure accessibility. but we are also ensuring that these vacuum tankers must have long pumping pipes so that you can pack the vacuum tanker at a distance and roll out the pipe, connect it until you get to where you want to pump out. It is necessary, I want to emphasize, that we must empty most of these pit latrines. Where necessary, we must bury some of them, but people have to have facilities to utilize.
Yeah. Let's get to the long term.
Yeah,
so because this is very temporal, I know.
Yes.
We'll get back to it year in, year out.
Yes.
But what is the lasting solution?
No, the lasting solution is that under NWASCO, which is National Water and Sanitation Council, we have been rolling out the program of ensuring that people use now what we call the modern toilets with modern septic tanks. In the old method, or the one which is generally used, is that you are discharging waste into the ground. How is that? You put a toilet, it's connected to a septic tank. The septic tank is connected to a soakwear. So the waste goes into the septic tank. The gray water from the kitchen, from the bathroom, goes into the septic tank. And from there, the water starts seeping into the soakways, and the soakways direct the water back into the ground. Now, if the water source, the borehole, is within a radius of less than 30 meters, it means that the possibility of this water you are discharging into the ground to contaminate your borehole is very high. The chances are very high. So what we normally advise is that the borehole must not sit within a radius of less than 30 meters. It must be more than 30 meters from the west. But you see, the way our homes are located, you can achieve that in your yard. What about your neighbor next door? You find that they are positioning a borehole next door. You have no control of what is happening beyond your wall. So next door, someone is putting a septic tank and the soakwear, which will be outside your perimeter wall. But in terms of the proximity, is very close to your water source. And because underground there are no boundaries, this water, the sewer from your neighbor will mix with your water this side. So you might think you have achieved your distance here, but someone will come and pollute your water, or you yourself, your soakwear will be polluting your neighbor's water. So these are things that we try to talk to people. Where possible in a community, you need to put just one borehole, which you can put at a safe distance, and begin to share the water, maybe 5, 6 of you. One borehole can supply you, so that you achieve this desire of avoiding the contamination. But this is very difficult to achieve. Secondly, we must move from this regular discharge of waste into the ground. So what we are doing in the peri-urban areas is that we have given them the modern septic tanks. These, what happens is that they don't discharge into the ground. Okay, so you use the toilet, it discharges into this built-up septic tank, which also has a small door, a pump, so that when it's full, our community-based enterprises that have been put in these localities will go in and empty at a fee. And this we are being supported by the World Bank, I think also by the African Development Bank, who've given out, who've supported these community-based enterprises that bought specialized vehicles, different equipments to go and empty. So this is ongoing. So in the long term, we want people to subscribe to this in the peri-urban areas where we don't have the sanitation network, so that once the septic tank is full, it's not connected to a soakaway. It doesn't discharge into the ground. Once it's full, the people there will go and pump it out. We call it dislodging. Yeah.
Interesting. And well, that answers quite a lot of questions around what government is doing.
Yes, but most
in
importantly,
responding
Zach,
to the pandemic.
most important,
Yeah.
we need you as a media to continue helping us,
Right.
sensitizing. We are grateful with what you are doing so far, sensitizing the people, because what we need mostly is the mindset change. I think the biggest problem is that today you can collect garbage. Our people from the councils are doing their best. And unfortunately, because of lack of exposure in many of our people, those that have traveled to different countries, you know, sometimes you come back feeling extremely depressed, you know, very depressed. I think I took one of my young officers on one of my trips out of the country, and I want to use this example. And he was preparing for a trip, one of my support staff, and he prepared, got kiwi polish, the brush and everything, and we are going to Europe. So we're in Europe for 1 week, and then he comes to me, he says, sir, look at the poor me. I said, what's wrong with you? He says, when I was coming here, sir, I carried the polish, and I found that it's not required, because where we are walking, there's no waste, there's no. I said, look, it's all about the mind. You know, we need to teach our children from the school days that, you know, the same basic things that our children, Zach, are taught. Don't play with sharp things, sharp objects. And you have your children coming to talk to you. No, you're not supposed to play with a knife, you know, because they're being taught at an early stage. Similarly, the dumping of waste. If people, a grown-out person is driving, and you are telling them, don't drink and drive. Someone is drinking Casolite, they are driving. Next, they throw the bottle of Casolite out or through the window. Because for them, it's normal. You know, in our society, it's like it's normal. You have to throw garbage anyhow. But the same people, when they just cross Kazungula here into Botswana, they will tell you, no. They will keep the whatever waste they have, because immediately it clicks in that here it's not allowed. Now, when you come back to Zambia, it's like the government allows you. There's no law that stops you from dumping. No, the bylaws are there. You are not supposed to throw waste anyhow. So the mindset, you know, for as long as we continue dumping waste anyhow, for as long as we continue going to vandalize the water network, you vandalize the pipe today, there's a leakage, you are going to have wastewater. And you know how it happens. Someone might ask, Minister, what are you talking about? If water is being pumped, how can storm water get into the network? No, there are times when there's a shutdown, the water is not flowing. Then you have contaminated water flowing as a result of the waste being dumped, and it's not able to flow in the drainage. Then it floods on the roadside, and it ends up on the water network, where the network was vandalized. And then there's a shutdown. You are not pumping water. This water, the dirty water, will find itself in the network. By the time you come and switch on the water supply, it will now carry this data to the end user, Zach. And that's what normally happens. So our people must take this thing very serious, that one, we must change the mindset. Let's avoid dumping waste anyhow. When you are eating a banana and why look for a bin where you should dump? If you are driving, can you keep these things in your car until you get home and dispose of? You know, so this will help us.
Let me give you a situation in Mansa, and our dear partner radio station Tuta FM carried the story on the radio station during on their news, and I'll read it briefly for you so that you can you can understand where this is coming from. Okay. So, a critical shortage of water in Chitakwa village of Mansa Ward in Mansa district has actually forced residents to start paying for the commodity at 2 kwacha per 20-liter container at places where it is available. Now, a resident in the area, Damali Kaoma, explains that this has also forced residents to travel long distances to nearby villages such as Ruben and Fundi, among others, to fetch for water. Now, Mrs. Kauma has also revealed that the area every year faces the same challenge from June to March as the water table drops and shallow wells fail to produce water. Against this background, I'm not very sure whether you do have this in your data as a ministry, especially now that we are where we are in this cholera situation. The question here is your ministry doing anything to address the situation in Mansa, which I've just alluded to, especially at a time when cholera
Which
is
community
ravaging?
is that again?
So
Mansa? But which community?
so this is a community called, these are residents, Kwaruben, I think, and Fundi, among others. So I think these are the most affected. Yeah. But not knowing whether you've got this in your data as a ministry, and if not, is
Okay.
this something you would like to respond to?
Good.
Right.
I want to believe that this is under Mansa Central.
That's right.
Where Honorable Chitalu Chirufe is a member of parliament. So I've taken note of the areas Kwarubeni and Fundi.
Yes.
I will engage him soon after this program,
Right.
to just understand if it's in his constituency and what could be done.
Right.
Yeah, so that we address you. First, you must understand that the ministry every year lines up activities of ensuring that we continue extending our services in terms of water supply, in terms of sanitation services. So this year,
it's actually under Bahati constituency.
it's under Bahati.
Yes.
Okay. So
Just take note of that. Yeah.
Okay.
It's under Bahati constituency.
Okay. Thank you.
Right.
So this year, by 15th December, we approved the 2024 budget, in which the ministry has been allocated with 2.1 billion kwacha for 2024. Now, this money goes towards projects, water projects, and sanitation projects. But in addition to this, the president has directed that we must prioritize the issue of water supply, the issue of sanitation in public places. So we have been engaging members of parliament. I sincerely thank the various members of parliament, both from the opposition and the ruling party, who have been very supportive to this. And most of them have agreed to the directive of the president that we must prioritize the issue of water and the sanitation under CDF, in addition to the allocation that
to your ministry,
the ministry is being given.
Right.
So in areas like this, what we need to do is to understand whether they have a river or a stream nearby, and we could quickly, because water in Luapula is in abundance. That's one province which has been very fortunate to still have still some good water. But in terms of Bahati, I will engage the member of parliament to appreciate what kind of source is available.
Right.
If
So
they
that-
don't have a stream or a river nearby, we could do on boreholes. But I want our people also to understand. You've heard the point there that during the peak of the dry season, the water table goes so low, and then even the shallow wells don't have the water. The boreholes also are not performing very well. And this is as a result of, again, another big problem that world over we are faced with, the issue, the problem of climate change. So these are some of the effects that are impacting very badly on the water sources. So because of this, we are saying, let us use this commodity called water in a sustainable manner. And this is where now institutions like WAMA come in. The Water Resources Authority, Management Authority, WAMA, comes in to ensure that we use the water in a sustainable manner so that we share this commodity, more or less like in a fair way, because if we don't use this commodity in a sustainable manner. In the next few years, we'll have actually more problems than this. So the climate change is here to stay. We are doing everything possible as a government. We are doing everything possible as a continent. We are doing everything possible as a global village to ensure that collectively, you know, recently there was just a 28 in Dubai where the whole world was meeting to address the challenges of climate change and have common grounds in terms of how we can reverse the damage that is being caused to the environment and ensure that to some extent we restore normalcy in the rainfall patterns, which also gets affected and distorted. As we speak, during our days, Zach, you and me, when we were growing up, I'm sure you remember, and many other people, that by October, first, second week, third week of October, by the time we're going into 24th October, Independence Day, the whole country was smelling rains. In certain parts, the areas had already turned green. By November, we had already started planting, and we're planting those long maturing seed. Nowadays, you can't. You are falling into this medium term, early maturing, you know. But that time, because the rainfall pattern was in abundance, it was very predictable. Now it has shifted. Even in December, when you say, no, the rains have delayed, no, we must accept that the rainfall pattern has shifted into January. It actually starts raining now in this end of December into January. So these are the problems we have. But I want to assure the people of Bahati, the people of Mansa, that just yesterday, we were just finalizing the allocation of the activities for 2024. So my ministry is working proactively to ensure that come January, we'll have started the procurement of various projects, water-related projects, the sinking of boreholes. We are sinking 500 boreholes throughout the country, but in addition to the ones that we did not finish in the past. So we have a backlog. These are projects that are already ongoing, 1,350 boreholes last year, this year, sorry, this year, 2023. 500 boreholes, and these are being executed. These works are being executed, and the next year we are adding another 500 in various points. These are just boreholes, but we are also doing the piped water schemes. So you might want to ask, what is a piped water scheme? So this is a water supply facility where you drill a borehole, and this borehole is connected to a pump. It pumps water to an elevated tank, which is fitted to this borehole. Then we provide a network and these are very suitable for in growth centers, in big villages. So you provide some network where at every point you have 3-4 houses there. Yeah, so these two, we are doing about 500 of them countrywide. But in addition to the others that we were working on the past 2 years, 2022 and 2023. So I'll accommodate the problem in Bahati. I would be very grateful when we finish
that's Mansa Ward, by the way. So Bahati constituency, Mansa Ward.
Okay.
So let me engage you, Honorable Minister, quickly before I open the phone lines. I will spend just about 10 minutes to bring you to your constituency as Member of Parliament, Monali constituency. Great works that we've seen in as far as road networks are being worked on, but there was a concern that you needed to halt some of these road works considering the rains. Otherwise, works will not be appreciated being done during the rain season. Have you responded to that concern?
Well, it's just common sense.
Right.
Civil works cannot be undertaken in the rain season.
Right.
Now, what we are doing was that because of the usual delays in the processes of approving and then procuring,
right,
the finances are there. The monies are sitting in the councils, but it's the procedures. You know, with government money, unfortunately, there's no shortcut. You have to
follow the process.
Follow the process that are really tedious. In addition to getting the getting the projects approved and the procurement, you also have another set of procedure to follow, is now the contracting part of it, where you need the chief lawyer of government, the attorney general, the legal advisor to government, the attorney general, to look through the contract. Now, this is a process again where you cannot rush the attorney general's office, because these are contracts and this is government money. So they must apply their minds, they have to take their time, and then clear you and say, okay, this now we have cleared, you can go ahead. Now, our people must understand that unfortunately, your member of parliament has very little control, because all these steps were put there as a necessary tool to ensure that government money is secured. It does not go to waste. So the MP would want things to be done within 1 week, okay? But you have to follow all these procedures. In the absence of these procedures, you can't access that money. So by the time we are done with these processes, you'll find that you're already going into October, November. By the time it is mobilizing, assuming all these clearances have been granted by August or September, you give the contract. By the time the contractor is mobilizing, you're already into October, going into November. Now, yes, you can't do the drilling of boreholes, the road works, and the other civil works during the rain season. So what we've done in Munali, for example, now that we are discussing Munali constituency, is that most of our projects, the contracts were ready by November. So we mobilized and pushed in the contractor to start the works. So then there were those concerns. No, why are we always doing these things in the rain season? Again, I've explained, I've belabored to explain that these processes, unfortunately, your member of parliament has no control. Even if I'm a cabinet minister, I will not go and rush the attorney general, because if there's a problem, then all of us stand to lose. So it's important that I get proper legal advice in terms of these contracts that we are signing. So we pushed in the contractors to move, and I can tell you that we took advantage, because we understand that the rainfall pattern has shifted. The rain season comes in around the end of December. So we took advantage of that, and a lot of works have been done in terms of road formation, because what is very critical is the road formation. Once that is done, the rest of the works can continue, because there we are applying stones, compacting. That, again, people must understand.
What do you mean by road formation?
Road formation is where you are grading. Thank you. Is where you are grading, okay? Then you hit the base of the road, basically you are forming the road by grading. Now, that is the first step. So grading the road, you form it, you create the slopes for the drainages. Now, that is very, very critical. That is where it's very difficult to do that in the peak of rain season, because then you create muddy arrangements. But that was done earlier for us in Munali constituency. In most of the roads, we did that around in November. And what is now happening is the second stage, where now we are dressing these roads with the crusher run. So this is a mixture of stones and quarry dust, which we put as a top layer on the road and compact, so that you basically don't have an ordinary gravel road. No, so you have an improved feeder road. So in most of the roads that we worked on in November, this is what now is being done to dress it up. Then the rest of the other works that follow can be done in the rain season. The fitting of culverts, the digging of drainages, we can do in the rain season.
And is that ongoing?
And that is ongoing. So we've done Lubwa Road, a very beautiful road now, and you should see how happy people are. For the first time since independence, they are seeing the road being worked on in the manner that it has been worked on. This is a very, very key road. And I can tell you, from the first government, ask the people that are operating from that road, they will tell you, since we settled here, and yet prominent people.
Which part of Munali constituency do we find
This
the Lubwa Road?
is Chamba Valley.
Right.
In Munali Ward.
Right.
Or Munali Ward 38. So this is a road that connects Mtumbi road near ZNS Gate. It goes all the way up to Charleston. So this road, almost about 85% of the works have been done. So if you saw how it was that time, this is a road that was completely impassable. It just became, most of parts of that road became just like trenches where water was passing. And the beautiful work has been done there. Go to Charleston, we've done the road formation for the first time in a long, long time. Each time that it rained around Charleston Market and all those interconnectors, they would just have to drive through big pools of water. And those who use small cars, it was a challenge. Now we've done the road formation there, and we very soon will be just dressing up the roads with the crusher and compacting. And at least for the first time in a long, long time, the people of Charleston will be smiling once we finish those roads. We have also done other roads like the Mosque Road. It passes through a mosque in Monali Ward area there. Again, the people there, you can see on their chat groups, they are so, so happy for the first time. These are people that had been crying for these roads for a long time, and we've responded to their cries. We've gone into Mtendere East behind the NRDC, another big road, another area where, Zach, if you went in what is being used, what was being used in the few months, in the past few months, past years, when you stand there, you'll be your height, you'll be down there, and the normal height where the road should be, you'll be actually be submerged there. So you can imagine that we have to bury all this almost 1.8 meters. We are burying by putting big stones to create a base and bring this road to the original level where it's supposed to be. So we've been dumping big stones there, and that I don't see a problem in doing it during the rain season, because we are just creating a base by dumping the road, putting a grader, leveling it. Then later when we start putting the laterite on top, that's where we need a bit of a dry season. But even then, I'll tell you, some of the roads that we did in November, we had to wait for the rain season because we needed also the moisture content in the soil to improve so that we can compact them properly. So I hear the concerns, and I want to also appeal to the people of Monali that yes, there are certain areas where the council engineers, again, this must be appreciated. The designs of the road and what your MP and your MPs don't have all the, we are not lawmakers, and we are not, yes, we are lawmakers, but the point I'm making is that don't confuse the fact that we are lawmakers, then we are also engineers, we are also journalists, we know everything. We might know, but in terms of the expertise, the MP, the ministers are operating through technocrats. So in terms of CDF projects, you have council workers who come in, the engineers, to advise in terms of what type of culverts must be put here. Okay? That is not the MP who decides. Now, what would happen is that the council workers and the engineers, quantity surveyors, and all will go on the ground to do an assessment. They will also develop the BOQs to ascertain what cost, projected cost for the project. Then they will do the design for the road so that once the contract is given out, the contractor must follow this design in terms of where the road will turn, the level of the road, or rather the height of the road, the type of drainages, and the culverts. So in certain areas of Mtendere East, yes, the engineers estimated the level of water which comes from the other side. So they put small culverts, and this is what has brought the cry. No, they're doing the roads in the rain season already. Look, the road is being washed away. Some of these people, I want to tell you, Zach, that you always have people that are extremely destructive. And most of these are people that are not with us. They're not supporting the UPND agenda. So any small problem that develops, they want to condemn the whole thing. And yet, this is an area where for many years, they themselves, with their MPs that they have been supporting, did not work on these roads, and the people were suffering. So we come in, we work on the roads, any small teething problem, and these are projects that have not yet been handed over, meaning we still within the period where we can re-look at what challenge has developed. But again, we can't condemn the contractor because the engineers said, put this size of a culvert. And what has happened now with the rains, we see that that size of the culvert at a particular point, there's too much water that it can't be contained there. So these are some of the things that they are condemning. Meanwhile, we're already working on these issues. The engineers have gone back with the contractor. They have assessed and they have agreed that the culverts that they put there cannot contain the water. So all we need to do is remove those culverts, correct the situation. So yes, you can raise a complaint, but don't over-dramatize it and begin to condemn the whole CDF. I heard one guy who actually bought a police post from the community. That whole area doesn't have a community. And because he was a PF cadre working with Nkanduruo, they got a police post and it turned into a lodge. And this is a guy whose property has actually encroached on the road. We couldn't put a proper drainage there. And this is a guy who goes and makes a video and say, look at CDF, what UPND is doing. The road has been washed away. And yet it's just at one point where we are now going to revisit and put a box culvert, which will be bigger and will be able to contain the water flow. So I want to appeal to the well-meaning residents of Monali constituency that the 5 years from 2021 up to 2026, Monali will change and will change for the better. So even those who hate us naturally, those who said we'll never be in government, they must just stomach their pride and accept that for the first time, Monali is receiving the development that they have never seen. We are there in Mtendere Chitukuko Road. Up to now, you go there, you can even jog. This is a road where taxis had stopped passing, vehicles had stopped passing. This time, you can even take a run there, you can exercise. And I want to encourage the people to take advantage of these beautiful roads we are doing to be exercising, because again, I'm not a health minister, but I want to say that Zambia is being hit by so much high levels of non-communicable diseases because we are not exercising. Obviously, maybe because the infrastructure, road infrastructure was not permitting, but in Monali, where the roads are being done, let's go and exercise in the morning, in the evening. Then we've done also some roads. Now we are going into Mahatma Gandhi in Mtendere, where we are going to that road to connect all the way into PHI. So we'll see if we get a bit of a dry spell, we'll run with that. I want to add also that we are working on the recreation facilities. Finally, the contract has come out, has been cleared, and we are just waiting for the ZNS, the contractor, to finalize what they're discussing with the council, and we'll start working on some of the football grounds like Kaunda Square and Mahatma Gandhi ground. Money has already been put aside. We're going to work in stages, work on the playing surface, raise the level so that the water doesn't become stagnant there, plant the lawn. We want our children to be playing football on very nice surfaces. Then the next stage will be to put a perimeter wall to provide security, put security lights so that even in the night we can play Madala's football. But we are going to also have washrooms there so that when people finish, the boys or the girls finish playing football, they can go to their shower rooms and freshen up. Now, we have Kaunda Square and Mahatma Gandhi to start with. We're going to improve that. We'll use this model to move into Kalikiriki ground and Mkolo ground in Kamanga compound. For the first time, people are going to see, we have the Barbara Bandas and others. They came from Mtendere areas. They were playing football on these bare pits. But in appreciation of the fact that Monali constituency has been producing stars, we have a lot of potential, a lot of our young people, some of whom are now abusing drugs, whom we can recall and put on these recreation facilities, play good football, then we can produce more people to play in our national team and international football. I want also to announce that the whole of last year, we were pushing RDA to help us mend some potholes in various points. The notable ones, which were very bad, was on the district road, Kapuriomba Road, Mtendere Market, and around the PHI, then the hybrid road. So For a long time, the past 1 year, they didn't have. This year, we pushed the National Road Fund. And I'm happy to say that National Road Fund has, they have released the funds into RDA and works have commenced. So the whole district road, which goes to Kamanga, has been patched up, even at a point where near Kapuriomba, where it was extremely bad, trenches had formed. We have worked on that and resurfaced. There's just a small portion at a point where you turn going into Mtumbi. I'll be talking to them to go back and also patch up that one. We have now moved, as we speak, we have patched up some potholes on Frederick Chiruba Road going into PHI through Benimwinga. Then at Mtendere Market, where it was terribly damaged, we are ripping off the whole road and then we're going to resurface it. So the works are actually ongoing by RDA. And I just want to appeal to our people again around the Mtendere Market that the charcoal selling there must move. We have made a decision. They must move the business of charcoal there because it's killing our people because of the dust, the remains of the charcoal. When they sell the charcoal, that ash which remains, in the long term, it's going to give our people, a lot of our people who suffer from a disease called silicosis, which attacks the lungs because of what they are inhaling now. And to protect our people, but also to ensure that the road is kept clear, we've made a decision to move the charcoal traders from there to go in another area where we have allocated them. And I want to say, let us cooperate. We don't want to act like other ministers that were harassing people. But if you want to belittle us by refusing the decisions that we are making on behalf of the community, then the law will apply because they are there illegally. So let's cooperate.
Thank you very much. Honorable Mike Mponsha, Member of Parliament for Monali, is our guest, and he is also the Minister of Water Development and Sanitation. We've discussed quite a number of issues around water development and sanitation, and including Monali constituency. Let me, at this point now, take phone calls and messages as well. So if you are sending your message, please send your message and strictly messages to the number 0761 912493. That's strictly for your SMSs and WhatsApp messages. 0761 912493. For your phone calls, please feel free to call us on 0955 221515. Again, the number is 0955 221515. Let's start by taking this call. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Zach.
How are you today?
I'm okay.
Please give us your name and where you're calling us from. Give us
Mr.
Chembe. Okay, you've got a minute, sir. Please go ahead.
Yes, I'm going to come up with you. Mponsha, ndipo kupisha kwa ministry yenu. Yai kwa ta penalty fee kuja watilinga na menshi. Kwa landila soba saka hota ni suwari. Ila lodi ya Kampala ground kati. Wali bama like jayo. Bajini kapata badi ya shile. Na nomba me fu ya dikinga dile jile sula kumfulove. Ayaye na menja tibadi ya titabu no kwino fwa ama like wale bompelama like ona ikafika mensha. Please balisaka hota so it watenga ku penalty. Then yale twito mu garden mu transit ya menshi. Yafuma ku uchenyi ku longekazi yapita mu garden. Tatwacha ku benefit mu bombe drainage. So Mponsha na last time I complain plan mpele ki drainage yapita kutwika ya drainage ya isalika. So ama insinga yeta mpo yapita pama ya pamweso. Isi eyo bakabomba pa account. Shingile niko. Then ku market la road ya frejo pa market ku kwa police pa. Yeti mupita pona moto ka we amesha pa fulani ni amesha. Abache panga road ba aviki. Sisi mwache panga pa market pa ipangia buli madrainage. No mamise kwa pangile bai wike peto tuma konki pa drainage. So aba pa market ngabale pyanga bale posa sign na mwe so ya madrainage ya isalika please. Mwize pa market mufufunye po fima kaba baka vaninga pa mula tisa amenzeleta ku muni free.
Thank you, Bachembe, for that. So, this should be in Mandevu constituency.
Yes, Garden Mandevu constituency.
Yeah. So let's see if we can take some more calls. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm all right.
Your name, son? Where are you calling us from?
I'm Henry Piri from Kabanana Southern State.
Henry P. from Kabanana. Please go ahead.
Honorable Mponsha, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Compliments of the season, Henry.
Thank you so much. Honorable, we to thank you. In the UPND government, I think I ought to be corrected, but one of the most addressing ministers in the UPND government.
Thank you.
Quickly, I want to just try to spread my comment over what you said. Here in Banana Southern Service, yes, we are connected to the network, but like you said, storm water getting into the sewerage. It is a very hazardous problem here. I don't know how you can help us, because there are a lot of people who are dependent when it rains. The storm water, they have damaged the network where when the storm water, when the rain comes, the storm water getting into the system. Then the second thing is we also have a Lusaka water bore here, but where the biggest problem is, the pressure is just too low, too very low, such that when you have a tap, water, you like completely dismantle the tap so that you can down the main pipe. So I don't know how you can help us for us to have pressure. So that's why we can have automatic pressure from the tap. Otherwise, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your message, Henry Piri. And you too can call us on 0955221515. Good morning. Give us your name and where you're calling us from.
Okay, my name is Mole, calling within Munari constituency.
Mule, you said?
Yes, Mole in Munari constituency.
Munari constituency. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, Honorable.
Good morning, Mole. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for my. I used to travel you very much when you are here in any registration for the district road. I'd like to say that I thank you now.
Thank you.
Yeah, because that road is now good. That's the only part is that before Chimopa, what is now, but very big place. Now, no make that from Nama drainage. It's a problem, but the whole road is this. And now we are safe to travel. And the other, I'm a road. I was explaining. Yeah, in Houston, yes, the road. We have done it. Perfect. People to move. The road coming from Zap. No problem. Para because now para maloba na kawi. Yeah, it's now piranga tamaste we no bara mokwi baban. Because there are still some people there in the night. It's quite very much from Paka way to back. They are just thinking, but in the Tamapotepa, because that's historical. The road, because that road, that's a cut off. So that people want to come now, they just pass through the same road and then they connect Kumunari Korea. So that one did a good job. Now the other thing is a police post. When are you going to open the Kamanga police post? Otherwise, you have done a good job. Everything that you promised, I think, to me, in terms of road, you have done excellent. I can't blame you on that one. You have done very, very, very well. In my words, where I don't know other places in the but in Kamanga, Houston, because that's where I stay most of the time.
Okay.
The roads you take it. I just want to thank you.
Thank you, Mule, for your call. Thank you very much. Let's deal with them. If you can be brief, I will appreciate so that we can take another set.
I've taken note of the issues raised by my mbuya there, Chembe, on leakages.
Right.
And this is one issue I addressed that earlier on, that in our fight to respond to the cholera outbreak, one of the measures is that we must fix most of the leakages so that the water is not just wasted, it should get to where the people want to use it. So we are mobilizing resources. We have also mobilized the human power, members of staff, human resource, to ensure that the leakages are attended to. And we'll be engaging, we have proactively been engaging the Member of Parliament from Mandevu, who's been reaching out to us on most of these issues. So I've taken note of that, and we'll push the utility company to ensure that this is sorted out. This is like here, which is supposed to be consumed by people. We don't want it to be wasted to be lost through leakages. So that will be sorted out. I've taken note of the drainage issue. We'll discuss with the Member of Parliament and through the Member of Parliament with the local government, because that is a function that falls under local government, so that there could be some improvement on the drainages he's talked about. Then Henry Pili, thank you so much for reaching out, and thank you for your compliments. I'm very grateful. On the stormwater entering the network, I've taken note. Again, this is the issue of the network being damaged. I think we need to reach out, and I think this is in Kapanana. We'll send a team from Lusaka Water to ensure that this is checked and see how we can work on it. Now, in terms of low water pressure from the borehole, this is what I talked about earlier, that because of the problems of climate change, the effects of climate change, the water table tends to go down at a dry season. And because of that, you find that you have low pressure, low yield of water. But we'll look into that to see how we can boost that. Maybe we need to increase capacity. I think the Member of Parliament has been asking for boreholes. I'm hoping that I'll give him some boreholes this year so that we can work around that. Mole, thank you so much. You've touched on very critical issues in the constituency. Yes, the district road was quite bad. We've worked on it. I've explained. And yes, you are also right. There's a portion that was I think missed, or they had just, it was buried with some stones, but now they've come out. I've already talked to RDA to go back and fix that portion. Yes, the Lubwa Road, Zach, I was talking about, this is the one he's also referring to. We have not yet finished it. So there's a portion going towards Mrs. Kawiku's home. What has created a problem again is that there are some houses that were built on the road reserve. So there is no space for drainages. So we've engaged the owners that they need to demolish their perimeter walls, and the councils have given them notices, or they're circulating the notices. So we left some stones and just pushed them around so that the people can still have access to that road. But this is what he's saying, that if you delay, the people steal the quarry stones. Yeah, but anyway, we are working on that. But encroachments that are creating a problem. We don't want to work on a road, to build a road which has no drainages. Then we have done nothing. Yeah, then the police post in Kamanga, for a long time, the people of Kamanga didn't have a police post. When are we commissioning it? We're just waiting for ZESCO. ZESCO is doing an upgrade of power in that community and also in Mtendere. So for now, they've suspended the connection. So as soon as they are done with that, they'll connect us, and then we should be good to commission.
Well, mixed feedback, Honorable, I must say. There's one here, contrary to obviously what Mule brought, but this one says, "Good morning, Zach and Honorable Mponsha." Honestly, Honorable Mponsha has failed Monali. The roads are pathetic. The whole Monali, he is not on the ground. He does not pick calls, but time is calling. Just enjoy now. 2026, you will be out. Mtendere East, your CDF roads are pathetic. I am a resident of Mtendere East. We have been crying for the issues of roads since MMD. If people are calling you, you should be answering. We are not out there to ask for money, but for development, which you have failed, but nothing has been done since you got into office. Now, this one is from Joseph Lusaka, and so I'm left wondering how this could be, because you have spoken about how much work you have done in terms of roads, and others have testified. Well, like I said, mixed feedback.
Yes,
this one
yes.
too, I mean, you can't let it out. He feels that you are not on the ground to see what is going on.
No. You know, you can even check the tone of that word. You see, Zach, people are free to say what they want to say, but I leave it to the majority of the people of Mnali to say that you are not on the ground. How are we doing all these works if I'm not on the ground? I don't know what he means to be on the ground. Maybe his interpretation of an MP being on the ground. Personally, these works, I supervise them personally myself. You can go on Irubwe Road, ask the prominent people that are on Irubwe Road, for example, Bishop Msusu, the Mwanashikus and Waro. They'll tell you that I'm personally finding time to go on the ground to inspect. Ask some of your colleagues.
You do the same in Mtendere? Because he is a Mtendere resident.
I was in Mtendere last Sunday, where I sponsored, not using CDF. These are, you can tell from the tone that these are bitter people. Even if you want to criticize somebody, you cannot say he has not done anything. I was elected in 2021. All these roads, Tukuko Road, JK Road, how are they pathetic? Because these are roads where people could not pass. Even Sunday, not this past Sunday, but the other one, we were in Mtendere East. I was at UCZ Church in Mtendere East. Then from there, where we were sending off Mrs. Kayenga, the Reverend there, who has graduated and she's been sent to Kabanana. So I was worshiping in Mtendere. From there, I went on the ground to inspect the roads and the drainages. There's a stream called the Kalikiriki stream between Kalikiriki and Mtendere, where people have built houses, they're dumping garbage in there. And when it rains, like now it's raining, the water was ending up in people's homes. So people are crying there, oh, we are in problems. I went there to inspect on a Sunday. The following day on a Monday, I hired a TLOB, an excavator, using my personal money. And the community there contributed 2,000 kwacha. The rest I topped up. I sent the machine. It went to excavate to deepen that stream, remove the garbage so that the water is flowing. So that's what I'm saying, that Joseph, you must not be bitter in life and be too negative. Sometimes, yes, you can criticize your member of parliament, your councillors, but
I think you need to call him back, because he says you don't pick up.
No,
you need to call him back
now
before you go. Probably in my presence.
You give me, you give me.
Yes, I have his number.
I will tell you that if there's an MP, a minister, sometimes I think I irritate people, because in the midst of meetings, several meetings, apart from cabinet meeting, and when I'm sitting in parliament, several meetings in my office, I'll always pick up calls and say, I'll call you back, I'm in a meeting. I think that is my nature. For me, Zach, you will notice you have my number. If you want, even when I'm sleeping in the night, I don't switch off my phones. I'll put them on mute, but I'll still find the calls in the morning and call back. But sometimes you always have people who are negative, and I appreciate you, Joseph.
We'll call him back. Yeah. All right, let me give you one message on Facebook. Zach, morning, Bwana Honorable. Bwana, it's sad that we are still talking about shortages of water in the CBD, Lusaka especially. There have been concerns in areas.
Name? What's the name?
So this one is, his name is J.O. The Future. J.O. The Future. He's in Turkey. Okay. But I think he's Zambian based in Turkey. So I'll continue with the message. Especially CBD Lusaka, we shouldn't be talking about shortages of water. There have been concerns in areas such as Kanyama, Chawama, Matero, and Chilenje. Bwana, and talking about the Kanyama cholera outbreak, I think you need to talk to your colleagues, Honorable Gary Nkombo, to work on the Soweto market. That is the major market in the CBD.
True, very true.
But it's very dirty, and if you check all the vegetables that comes from there, And also the drainage systems are poor in Lusaka. And of course, he says, I'm watching you from Turkey. That's a comment on our Facebook page. Let me take some more calls. Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Sir, how are you?
I'm very welcome to the program. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
This is Woman Sanje calling you from Sanyama.
Woman Sanje.
Good morning, Honorable.
Under a minute, please
Good
make
morning,
your comment.
Sanje.
Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Tia Mikira, Honorable, ndio wamenifunika ukalira wasokoleli kukwela kulondolola pamene muchita. Koma development ya malume ngapaka simunga ibise mu blanket amene jamangiwa mwamanga chaoneka wamene nakambira Bible kuti kuzakhala vantu vali na maso koma siwaona vali na maso koma siwamvera ye vamene. So don't worry, Honorable, continue working. Chito zanu ndio zizaka kukambirani even kaimwe amene vayendokezera kaimwe amene vakamba 2026 koma monga kuno kwakanyama. I don't know as a government what are you planning, because it's very hard or difficult for refuse kugena mkombole kutenga vinyala. Maybe you can try to upgrade the manyago maybe to agala to upstairs. Pamene mwapanya line mwapanga to upstairs so that my road yankalago na drainage yankalago. Otherwise it's very, very because as you say kuchingirira matenda jiribu inogani kufanya kumenya nkondo matenda. So otherwise kudos, Honorable, may God bless you.
Thank you, Woman Sanje. I've got a message here. Thank you, Mr. Mponsha, for acknowledging that there is need to change the way we dispose litter in our country. Are there any deliberate measures being taken to stop such behavior, since word alone have failed us? So that is from Mr. Piri from Mtendere, that is under Mnali constituency. But I think it's a general concern.
Yes.
Let me take another call. Well, we lost it. Call us back on 0955-221515. Your messages are on 0761-912493. Our guest is Honorable Mponsha, Member of Parliament for Mnali constituency and Minister of Water Development and Sanitation. Let's see if we can pick this one. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
How are you? Your name and where are you calling us from, sir?
Yeah, this is Kinfred from Madidoa, the Honorable Shuka Chan.
Twashuka Kinfred Dishan.
We know, actually, we know 50%.
Oh, okay. Namruara.
Shidu Eden Sada,
Oh,
then in Sada second, Moisa, just as if you are threatening me that Kamanga people raise against me over the issue of Kamanga police post para Pumakolira. Me, I was not against to build a police at Kamanga, but I was against Ukukula police Palandia PF. Why need someone the Makula police post party UPND office? But to party Paramakulira now face UPND to have another 100 meter or 150 meter. So that was my question. Then number two, he tulekwa minister muke psheko bakuara tia district road monument. Mweza mpite mu makamaka pakris mwapa. Na fitampa mapoto. Then ngamwako kwara die kwali ba program oyo bashire ba previous government he road bakwere kuzika pa 4 lane way. Ina nobody saka na approve ku kwara die so tulekwa kushwa number why mota minister continue so that mwa pitrisha mu 2024 budget ka 2025 budget tulero mwivike mu so that ama traction kuma kuchipata kuma kupata yabo mchawi no musevo etiro no sana oyo musevo so tulero mbako mugombere kwecho
Bakingfred orotamulaya na chafo kumfwa bwino pa ipusho ya pa first machinaye bati police post bakulira.
I get it.
You get it.
I get it. I know
Okay.
what he's talking about.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bakingfred.
okay
All right.
lezumkweni na chalanda na timwakula pala ndia
Yes.
instead mufaya selandi samoya mwakula po That was my if you have against.
All right. Thank you, Bakim
All right.
Fred. All right. Let's respond to that.
Okay, so
or maybe let me just give you one more message.
Yes.
This one says, thank you, Mr. Mponsha. You are working hard. I'm happy with you, my brother, for what you have done. This is Vincent Sakala from Matero constituency. Good day and God bless you. Let me quickly give you another one. Vazak na ba minister kuno kuchingola tubombana mulonga water nomba amenshi yachita apo yaisa napo tayeshide makamaka kuchikola lulamba chiwempala naku and tuatasha. Okay. So those are the townships that he's referring to that are based in Chingola, Nine Don Busy, Kuchingola. All right, that is a concern that you obviously need to look at quickly. Good morning, Minister. As for me, I see you as a hardworking minister. Keep up the good work, but my concern is on connection fee. The connection fee is too high for us poor people, like in Nampundwe. We have Lukanga. It's 1.7 in where I think that's what this should be. And how do you help? Because we all need water. This is Daddy from that's Daddy from Nampundwe. That's right. Good morning, Mr. Banda and Honorable Mponsha. I want to ask about water project in Luapula, Ikapia, Lilali. Ikapwa Lilali, sorry. I think, let me read it again. Good morning, Mr. Banda and Honorable Mponsha. I want to ask about water project in Luapula, Ikapwa Lilali. I'm Kelvin from Mansa. All right. I'm sure you know that project.
Yes.
Right. Good morning, Minister. I'm enjoying the program. I'm here in Kalumbila, Northwestern. I'm asking once again for your number. All right. Thank you very much for that. Well-spoken, Minister, and compliments of the season from Maurice Smangolwa in Kanyama. All right. So those are the few messages I thought I should read out quickly and see which ones you can respond to. So let's hear your concern. Let's hear your response to.
You don't have cause?
We can pick cause. Yes, I can pick a few if you don't mind.
Yes.
0955-221515 is the number that you are calling us on if you would like to call us and be part of this conversation. Our guest is Honorable Mike Mponsha, who is Member of Parliament and Minister. Rather, Member of Parliament for Manali constituency and Minister of Water Development and Sanitation. We've got a caller. Good morning.
Mwabukashani wazaki.
Tuwabuka febuino ngachimwe woni mwebani era muletu minakui.
Inena abuka febuino ne libulira ndanya bo Don Busy kuchingora.
Na Don Busy twachimo no message yenu.
Nintotera lesa imo amunja fuirisha because ngasha chingira natamibere ire.
Okay.
Honorable Mponsha mwabukashani.
Na ukabu inoneo mwakati na Don Busy.
Inena ukache musheka.
Very good.
I think chinyanja sinishiziwa maningi badi zakamba mchivemba mtazaki azani kamiza. Kulingana na message nachirenda mwachibere ngabazaki kuno kuchingora tubombana bamulonga nabakwata kote project yo barepanga pako bachituka kwateko amisha yakareisa bwangu bentu kare kwata amisha asumanomba tumo tureka biroko bachapene barepanga ma project ya amishi yareisa mwa wadi omuntu asangwa muno nomba problem twakwata nabamulonga yabenshi bishaba apatu afika amisha ya isenyindi wanu mansi ndi wanu wiki mwamona so ndeka biroko bachimwele ko bamulonga ama project barepanga yare fiye buno because ayo barepanga ma project na chakwa chamisha akarafu makasiwe beta bakarebo mfefile fimana ni bohe abo finyotoka bakarepishamu abantu batapako at least mwamona because ngani muchikora waji munachiraranda kana besa naranda na wami ya chamisha mwaba amashishi nga chakwa cha abantu barayikarashani kwa buramishi because ishi ndinche nditakwa abo mu ngemba fima ofili amashiwe fimandrai tamwaba
Well noted. Okay.
So chirekalira chako bati pakati wafuirisheko pamulonga vareturetera kone fimenshi pako vachitureta pako fiamenshi kumulonga. I think ngamwachite honorable Nchimwatu wafuirisha.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Babiz. I've got a few messages on Facebook page. Let me read them out. One is from a media house called the Zambian Insaka News, which says, as part of the media who follow his works on his social media platforms, we would like to affirm that Honorable Mponsha is one of the most hardworking ministers and members of parliament. We have firsthand witnessed his developmental works. All right. And I've got another one, Sekulile Innovations. Well, I'm believing this is a company. Honorable Mponsha is a very calm and collected minister. Even when he is criticized, he responds respectively. Keep it up with your good works. All right. Let me pick another call, and then we can start winding up. Your name and we lost it. Too bad. Call us back on 0955-22115. Let's pick another one. Oh, we lost it. Please call us back. 0955-221515. We have this one. Good morning.
I'm okay, and how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Your name's and where are you calling us from?
Yes, I'm Fiansangu. I'm calling you from within the Munali constituency, particularly within the school, Munali Secondary School.
Oh, great.
Yes, I've got a question for the MP, and my question is very biased to my community, Munali Boys Secondary School, which is maybe also to include Munali girls. My concern is to find out from the MP, are there any plans for the ministry, and especially from him as the MP, to help the school in terms of water reticulation and sewer system? Because I've been in this environment for over 20 challenges that we've had. I'm sure the MP understands this problem. So I would want him to address this challenge that we have. I'm calling as a concerned teacher.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Please take note of that, because then I also have a message for you from Choma. It says, Honorable, I'm listening here from in Choma. As people, we are difficult. So what you need to do is just forge ahead with your responsibility as an MP. Some people will say the truth about you to disturb you. Some, they will definitely say that because they want your position. Otherwise, we encourage that you continue working hard. Right. Maybe you would want to respond so far to those that have come as questions.
All right. So I'll start from the bottom. Mr. Siansangu, Munali Secondary School, yes, it's true. There are water challenges there. But also the sewer situation is quite bad. Do we have any plans to assist the school? Yes, we have plans to see how we can assist the school. In fact, not too long ago, we sent Lusaka Water to do an assessment. They have finished conducting an assessment from Chainama Hospital. So basically, I'm saying various institutions in the constituency, be it health institutions, be it learning institutions. Assessment at Chainama Health Hospital, Chainama Hospital Health Institution. We will be doing an assessment again at both Munali girls and boys to see the challenges and what solutions we can provide. And basically, the issue is that the school that's a school I went to from grade 8 to grade 12, and obviously I'm so much alive to the many challenges that are there. So we would want to see the cost implications. So first we need to do an assessment, and this will be done by Lusaka Water. then we'll be able to pronounce what interventions, what solutions we're going to provide. So I hear you. I totally agree with you, Mr. Siansango. You're on point. To Mr. Sekalile, thank you for your compliments. Mine is to ensure that I work hard, and I might not finish everything in the constituency. I might not finish all the problems in the water sector, but I think what is important is that during the time I've been given this responsibility, in fact, these responsibilities, one being Member of Parliament for the great people of Monali, and another being the First Minister of Water Development and Sanitation under UPND government, I must do what I can, do everything I can to create a bit of a difference. So I'm not promising that I'll finish all the problems. I will not solve all the problems, but I'll be able to make a difference in attending to the people's challenges. So thank you for the compliments. I also take another compliment. I'm very grateful to the Zambia Insaka, is it? Zambia Insaka?
News, yes.
Yes, thank you. And indeed, I'd invited various media houses, particularly those of you that usually conduct these interactive programs. Then I also invited the regular callers there, both those that are critical of my works and those that are supportive. I told the media houses to say, can you pick your regular callers? It doesn't matter whether it's those criticizing me or not, come with them to the constituents. So we went on the ground to inspect the works, and most of them said, okay, we've been criticizing you. We didn't know that on the other side of the constituency, this is what is happening. So I'll continue engaging people, media houses, to come on the ground and see for themselves, so that when people are complaining or they're criticizing, I think what would be wrong is to say that he's not doing anything, completely nothing. I think that is wrong. But to say that maybe we need to do much, I totally agree, because the state in which my constituency was in, the state in which the water sector was in, was extremely bad. Even when you look at the budget that was being passed before, the lack of confidence by cooperating partners to the sector, all that we have remedied. Now we are increasing the budgetary allocation. Now we have increased the support through CDF. Now we have gotten back the support that was lacking in the past from the cooperating partners. So mine is to ensure that I do what I can to contribute to some positive change. Then Maurice, again, thank you for your compliments. I think I was just being complimented there. Then we have what was that? Chingola, Don Busy. Yes, I've taken note. It's true that we in Chingola, Mufurila, and Chidelabombwe, we are embarking. We have a project there, the ongoing project called the Zambia Water Project, Zambia Water Supply Project.
Okay.
And the projects in Chingola have progressed. Unfortunately, it's sad to note that in certain areas where this project is progressing, the utility company is not communicating with the communities to tell them to prepare adequately. Because what is important is to say, during this week or this month, we'll be in this area. We're going to shut down because there are these works being undertaken, and we urge you to prepare the way we did on the Iolanda works. So I'm going to speak to Mulonga to ensure that they must be communicating, but we also have water bowsers there. I know it's expensive to transport water using water bowsers, but in very stressed points, it's important that we provide the supply through the water bowsers, particularly now that we have this cholera outbreak. We can't afford to keep our people for more hours, days, weeks without water. That is uncalled for. So I'm grateful, Don Biz, that you reached out. I've taken note of the areas you mentioned. I think it's Chikola.
And let me just add, because I've got another one that again is speaking about Mulonga. This one says, if you're mbona kwati ba Mulonga balifirwa inchito yavo yakuletela abantu amenshi Chingola kukamba kuchilila bombwe pipi Zambia na kukawama mbalesa takwaba amenshi tunwafe aya mufishima. Okay. Chawama bakale bombera fye mwitauni limo limbi kuti bakwanisha not chingola chilila bombwe mufulira umulimo wali bakulira sana ninebashije pakasumbalesa. So basically he's saying maybe Mulonga is overwhelmed.
Yeah. All right. I've taken note.
Right.
I think that it's my duty to speak to the CUs through the board of directors to ensure that they must up their game. Water is serious business. Sanitation, very, very important issues, and we can't afford to have our people complaining like that. I have taken note of the complaints, and I'll be running with them.
Good morning, Zaki and Honorable. My concern is on the piped water from Lusaka Water and Sewerage Company for Obama area. We cannot all afford boreholes. Meanwhile, continue working hard and being available to the community. This is from Mwale. I think on the messages, that's a wrap. So maybe you can respond to
So let me go. Thank you, Mr. Mwale. I've taken note. In fact, it's not just an issue of affordability. I think it's desirable that in Obama, in Kamanga areas, we must provide a network. So we are gradually extending the water supply, and this has been necessitated by the increased volume of water from which we are producing from Kafue. One, from the repairs that we conducted on the Iolanda works, I did mention that from the projected 85,000 cubic meters per day, we are now producing or receiving 102,000 cubic meters per day. So there's been this significant. But also the Iolanda 2, which is Kafue bulk project, which we commissioned last year, has also brought on board an addition of 50,000 cubic meters per day, which is 50 million liters per day. So because of this, and the target of this new project was to increase water supply in the eastern side of Lusaka, includes Avondale, Kalikiriki, Mtendere East in Kalikiriki Ward, Charleston, and going now to Obama. So there's a network there that passes Mrs. Kawiku's place on the district road going to Kamanga to supply. So some of the people now are getting good pressure in Kamanga. We need to extend further to Obama. I think this is the point.
Okay.
Now, the issue is not just affordability, but you see, because we are using boreholes and sanitation facilities such as the septic tanks and soakways, we want to ensure that we avoid as much as possible to encourage boreholes in areas where the plots are pretty small. It's better that they should be supplied with the water from Lusaka Water so that we mitigate the possibility of contamination of their boreholes. So we'll be attending to that, Mr. Mwale. Let me quickly go to Vincent Sakala. That was just a compliment. I want to assure you that I'll continue working hard because, one, this is what the people of Monali wanted me to do. Secondly, the confidence that the president bestowed on me to appoint me in this ministry meant that he saw something, the people of Monali saw something in me, and I must work very hard to ensure that we respond to the challenges of the people. So it is actually my duty to do that. Kinfred, yes, this is, I was on Millennium Radio the other time. He called and complained that we built a police post next to the PF facility. First of all, we did not build the police post on the plot of PF. That is not correct. We built a police post in the near vicinity with where PF had built their office. Okay? Now, first of all, under normal circumstances, this guy called Kinfred should have been realistic, should have been very thankful that we've provided a security facility near to their property. This will provide security because as you speak now, as I speak now, Zach, that place has been vandalized. It does not exist, the PFO office. It has been vandalized. People have stolen iron sheets, different things. So the coming, because of the vandalism, the thefts that are going on in the community, and the PFO office has not been spared. Now we might even just call it the former PF office. So the bringing of the police post there will provide security to the community, not only to the households, but also to the properties that are there, including the PF security, the remains of what is there on the ground. So the security should be able to be enhanced. So if I was him, he should have been grateful that we provided the security. So it's not true, Greenfred, that we built the police post on the property belonging to PF. No, we built it on in the next property. Then very quickly, Mr. Piri Mtendere was talking about disposal of waste. Waste alone have failed us. What do we do? First of all, it's not just the waste alone. We have bylaws in place, but the issue is the disobedient. You know, the levels of defiance. When the law tells you to turn right, you see even sometimes on the road where it says the right turn only, you're going to find someone on the left. And this is how you find so many accidents being caused. Why? Because first of all, people are not observing speed limits. People are not observing various signages. Those signages on the road are meant to regulate speed and other activities to avoid accidents. And if you disobey that, the end result is that you are involved in an accident. And similarly, this is what is happening. When people tell you don't dispose of waste in the drainages, you find it normal to cut corners and dispose in the drainage. The next, we have outbreaks of diseases. So for me, I think the appeal is that, yes, it's not just the talking alone. We must continue talking, but the bylaws are there. People must change. We must change the mindset and begin to obey the laws, begin to obey the bylaws. I think that is what is going to help us. All the developed countries where you see cleanliness is because they obey their laws. Don't drink and drive. They park their car, jump on a taxi, go and drink, have fun, jump on the next taxi, you go home. But if you're going to drink and drive, you know when you're drunk, you're thinking the mind is compromised. And next, you are in accidents. So I think it's the mindset change that we must promote there. I think we had a gentleman, Mr. Mponsha from Kanyama. Mm-hmm. I'm very, very grateful. We are working very hard, Mr. Mponsha in Kanyama, to ensure that water supply is increased. And Zach, I want to take advantage very briefly. I know we've run out of time. To say that in Kanyama, for example, we had built over a year ago, we built 2 facilities, okay? A big water reservoir, boreholes, and all the pumping facilities. We did the same in Garden. We put money there through Lusaka Water. Unfortunately, ZESCO was not able to give us supply for a long time, for over 1 year. And the payment was made to ZESCO. So we put pressure, and I'm happy to say that also in response to the situation that we are in, maybe it was a blessing in disguise. ZESCO has now responded. As we speak, they are now connecting power there. So as soon as ZESCO finishes the power installations, we'll be able to start flashing out the boreholes there, because they have not been working for a long time. When we finished the works, we connected them to the genset. We tested the system. It was working purely. Everything is there. 3 months ago, I even went to visit, and I started putting pressure before the outbreak of cholera that we need to have water there. We went with the Member of Parliament and some councillors. I'm happy to report that ZESCO has responded. As we speak, they are busy connecting the power. Once they finish, we'll flush the boreholes to ensure that the rusty water is kicked out. And from there, we start pumping into that reservoir, and we start supplying the people of Kanyama. I think that is it Villa? They call it Villa Makeno or something, Ward.
McCain, yeah.
Yes, so we have that facility and another one in the Garden House area. So once that is done, we'll start supplying the water. So I thought I should take advantage of Mr. Mponsha's. Then there's another gentleman called J.O. The Future. And he says it's really shameful that we're still having water challenges. Yes, but 2 things can be mentioned here very quickly. One is that we've had low investment in the water sector, where government has not been pushing in a lot of money. In the past years under PF, and I must be honest and call it as it is, so much money was being borrowed to be pumped into the water sector. Unfortunately, the projects have not been finished. You can see there's a question in Mansa. Mkapwisha lilali ama project yako Mansa. These are some of the projects that we found are distorted. So much money borrowed. Where the money went up to now, we are wondering. Kafulafuta project on the Copper Belt, $449 million. You're not contracted. The project not finished. It had distorted and being almost vandalized until this government came in. We reactivated that. As we are speaking, in the next few days, the contractor will have finished. We'll start pressure testing. All things being equal, I'm hoping by month end of January, we'll start pumping water to Ndola, Luansha, Masaita, and Mpongwe, and this will be a big boost in terms of improving water supply. So there has been low investment. There has been a lot of dishonest in terms of borrowing money and not applying it fully to these projects. Then the population, while it's on the other hand, the population has been increasing. You remember, Zach, not too long ago, we were dealing with 8 million population of Zambia. We jumped it to 10, we jumped it to 12, next 19.6. Meanwhile, on the other hand, low investment in the water sector. So this has created a problem. There's been a population jump, but we have not put in resources to correspond to the population growth. So many communities have kicked in, but without the response in terms of resources to put in water, to also put in sanitation facilities. The other problem is that the tariffs for water have been very low, very, very, very low. And the last tariff adjustment in the water sector was in 2019, 2015 to 2019. From that time, we have not adjusted the tariffs. Now, ordinarily, the water supply and the sanitation provision, yes, the government must play a bigger role, but we are supposed to attract the private sector to also play a role. Now, it's very, very difficult for the private sector to come in a sector where it's very unattractive. The sector is very unattractive because of the low rates. So the private investors would go into the energy because the tariffs are being adjusted every now and then. They would go into the fuel sector because the tariffs are market driven, but also they are a reflective of the prevailing situation. Whereas the water sector, it's not really attractive because of the reasons that I've mentioned. So we are trying to improve, make the water sector attractive so that we can now attract various people to come in. As we speak now, we are already planning of another network to come from Chilanga, which will be giving us an addition of 100 cubic meters per day. A contractor has been found. We are having discussions, and this is going to be a PPP, a public-private partnership. And this will be a big boost again to bring an additional 100 million liters per day. So we are going to, this will be a third pipeline. So discussions have advanced. I may not go into details, but just to use this to illustrate what we are doing in terms of bringing the private sector on board. So, Joe, the future is true that it's sad that we're still having these water challenges, and that's what happens when you don't put a lot of resources. The little resources that you're bringing in are not being accounted for. For me, Zach, I always say that some of the people that are resurfacing and being critical really should do, if I were them, I should be very ashamed and say, look, we went to Kafulafuta, we started this project, we couldn't finish. Chinsali, I'll give you Chinsali, just a small project costing 51 million kwacha. When I took over in 2021, when we took over as UPND, we found the PF failed to finish the Chinsali water project. For many years, that project had restored for 2-3 years, just 51 million kwacha. We pushed it, turned it around. I went there and commissioned it. As we are speaking, Chinsali now is on supply. That's why I'm saying that some of these things, Mansa, I will respond also. As we speak now, we have just finished Samfia and Mansa. These are some of the projects that are under a project called Small Towns Integrated Water Supply and Sanitation Project. So in Ilwapula, we have one in Mansa, one in Samfia, We have one in Mwense and another one in Kawambwa. As I speak to you now, it's just my diary, which is not very accommodative. We're still trying to find the space to go and commission 2 of them. Samfia and Mansa have been completed and ready for commissioning. So when you hear people say the New Dawn government is doing nothing and what, sometimes you look at them and say, if only they were given a 60 sense of shame, they would be really ashamed, because there's so much that we've done within 2 years. Look, we are open to be criticized. We are not asking for kudos all the time. It's our duty to ensure that we work hard, we turn around the lives of the people in terms of water supply, in terms of sanitation services. We need to do that. So this is in response to JO, the future. I totally agree with you of the issue of the dirty markets, the dirty drainages. Yes, it's a function under local government and rural development. Before I came here, I was late for about 5 minutes. We were having a joint press conference, Honorable Masebo, Honorable Garin Kombo, and myself. So we are working together, and we also talked about these issues that JO, the future, has raised about the dirtiness in the drainages, the market areas. Our markets, we must strive to ensure that our markets are always clean, because this is where we are getting, like he said, vegetables, fruits, and other food products. If they are not clean, we are operating in a dirty environment, these problems of cholera will continue year in, year out.
Honorable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation, and of course, a Member of Parliament from Nali, Honorable Mike Mponsha, I would like to say thank you very much. We've extended this program slightly by 10 minutes or so, also because it's the last in the year 2023. But I am grateful that you two came. And of course, I understand your schedule is quite busy, especially now. But we are grateful that you came, and we can only wish you all the best in your responsibilities as minister and as well as member of parliament.
Thank you, Zach.
We hope to host you soon. Again.
Thank you. I look forward, and I want to wish you and the members of staff a prosperous new year. I want to extend that to all our viewers, on your platform, but also the listeners on the radio platform. I want to wish them happy festivities. I wish all my hardworking Munali residents, the churches, the whole Munali community, I want to say happy festivities, but also just to appeal to our people across the country that yes, this is a time when we are supposed to be happy, we are supposed to be celebrating as we approach the new year, but let us do this responsibly. Please, if you know that you are drinking, avoid driving long distances, avoid drunk driving, drinking and driving. And if you can, stick to one point, because your children still need you, the community still needs you. It is not worth it to go and die for a celebration of one day. 2024 almost here, just around the corner, but we can only get into there if all of us are responsible and avoid unnecessary accidents, so that we don't cause deaths to other people, but also not to ourselves. So we have a responsibility to ensure that we take due care whilst we are on the road. We take due care as we travel to different points for holidays and for parties. Otherwise, I look forward to continue working with various stakeholders in the year to come. We have a lot of work to do in the constituency, but also in the country. And just to ask you that let us continue supporting each other as a country. All of us can make this country a better place to live in. Otherwise, looking forward to seeing you, Zach, and other members of staff in the new year. Thank you so much for hosting me.
And thank you for coming.
Tune in next week for another edition of The Burning Issue, and thank you for your participation. Democracy and freedom of expression is about tolerating the views that you don't like from someone you might not like.